What up, everybody? Just hope everyone's enjoying their Sunday fun day. I am recording this on Saturday, and it's been a couple of days, but I'm finally able to talk. I'm kind of dealing with the tooth situation, but all good, all good, all good. No real complaints. Like I said, I'm talking today. I can drink, eat, so you know, I'm good. I have yet to see Roadblock. I'm on. Again, since I'm recording this a little bit before, sorry, I just got done with my conversation with Brennan Williams. Marcellus Black, the Shogun of the row. We just got done sitting down, had a good little 30-minute, 35-minute conversation. I really enjoyed it. He's a great guest, and we talked quite a bit about football and life and wrestling and tryouts and combines, and it was fun. It was fun. I'm hoping to have Romeo Falcone on my next episode. We just have to coordinate a time. So hopefully we can do that here pretty soon. If not, at the very worst, hopefully I'll get to sit down with somebody at the next TV taping for Reality Wrestling, which is taking place March 19th. So next Saturday, so go to realitywrestling.com for more details to get your tickets and whatnot. It should be really impressive. I've enjoyed the last couple of tapings at the new facility, the World Gym Arena, and I expect some really good stuff. Brennan will be, I think he'll be battling Ryan Davidson in a rematch from their first encounter, which was at the last taping. Appreciate all those who've taken the time to watch my sit down with Mysterious Q, or listen to it, or subscribe to the Offshoots Network, and that way you'll get my episode every Monday. Or if you're subscribed to my YouTube channel, then be on the lookout for these every Sunday. So yeah, I'll probably talk a little bit about Roadblock once I've seen it. It's in essence the alternate WrestleMania. Very eager to see what they do. I also can't wait to see the Hall of Fame with the Freebirds and Sting and The Godfather. And I'm probably missing somebody who's... Oh, and Big Boss Man! So I'm eager to see that Hall of Fame. But yeah, a lot of stuff coming up. I can't think of anything else. Sorry. I'm just... I am eager to see the second season of Daredevil, and also Batman v Superman. Cannot wait. We did subscribe to Loot Crate, so I may talk about that when I get that. This is always a tough week. Always bittersweet. Yeah. I mean, it's been 9 years, but it's still a tough week. Tough few days. Like, really, one of the highest points and lowest points, and yeah, tough. I don't know. Yeah, I mentioned it to a friend of mine who had lost his grandfather, Code. My condolences to him. But we were having a conversation, as people do when they lose someone. They reach out to someone who is lost as well. And as time passes, you celebrate that person's life because you want to think of the good times, and at some point the reality sets in of everything. Everything's not so rosy. But I think in some ways that's your, probably some part of you allowing to not let it affect you as much. It does affect me. That day will always affect me. The phone call, and all of that, everything surrounding it. It's just such a, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard to think sometimes. I don't know. You know, hopefully next week will be a little sunnier for me. Hopefully my tooth or the issues with my mouth will subside. Be pain free hopefully, and free of some of the after effects of this. I don't know. I'm reading quite a bit comic wise. I really like the Future's End series. I like Batman and Robin. I like the Eternal stuff so far. I like what they're doing with Batman, Jim Gordon, and Batman. I kind of try to keep tabs with Superman. I'm trying to keep up to date. I will probably be on the lookout for the next trade of Walking Dead. See if there's a new trade for Powers. What else? No, that's about it. Back to Romy Falcone. Hopefully I can have him on this week. I appreciate him having me on the Geeks and Wrestling podcast. It ended up being a two-parter, and I was kind of interested in that concept. I mean, my last couple videos were pretty time intensive, so but I don't know. You know, I like kind of releasing everything in its entirety, but that was, I'm interested to see how the second part comes out, because I do remember we were having quite the conversation. Pretty good one. So if you haven't had a chance to check it out, you know, it definitely was a good talk. I really enjoyed it. So I'd like to definitely have Romeo on my show. If not him, then, you know, if we can't seemingly plan it out, then hopefully I'll have somebody. There are a couple people I have in mind for a couple of the future episodes, and some people within reality wrestling, as well as other organizations. I wouldn't mind sitting down with some people and talking life and wrestling and the pursuit of it all, trying to enjoy the journey. So I think I've stalled though. And I know this wasn't really stalling. I want to give you some insight to what's going on with me, but without further ado, stay cool, stay sexy, stay classy, people. But you will definitely be on the road to that if you sit back, relax, and enjoy my conversation with reality wrestling superstar. Yes, he's a superstar. Quite the impression he has made upon his first two matches. First two ever, actually. Kudos to him. I'm talking about the Shogun of the reality wrestling. None other than Marcellus Black, but to his friends he's also known as Brennan Williams. So sit back, relax, and until the next time, later. Brennan Williams. Oh my God, man, I'm a little overcome. Marcellus Black. We will get into Marcellus Black in a minute.
Oh, sure.
I mean, obviously we're 2 matches in, and you're the talk of the wrestling industry, as far as, I mean, there's so much pub on you.
I'll take it.
Yeah, no, and it's all good. It's all good. We will talk painful debuts that I've seen, and yours was quite the opposite. It was, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it was something, man. I don't think since Gino, and Gino's a little different, but as far as like a debut into first match and all that, but. Every wrestling fan or wrestling person who gets into this hopefully started off liking it. So what was your earliest memory of, or the first time when you saw it, and and it just...
Actually, I'm a little bit unique in that I actually played the video game before I ever watched it on TV.
Okay.
So I go all the way back to No Mercy on the Nintendo.
The game of games. Yeah, no, there are people to this day that will have...
It never got better.
That have N64, they're just like, for that...
No, I was at a convention, MagFest, about 2 weeks ago now, and they had the biggest tournament they've ever had in the history of the convention, No Mercy tournament.
Wow.
Hosted by Matthew, who does Botchamania.
Yeah.
He had this big tournament, and they had hundreds of people in it, and it was actually so hyped that all the other tournaments and things that were going on, they were like, "Hey guys, can you guys calm down? You guys are having too much fun here." So that was my gateway drug.
Wow. Okay, that is a very unique gateway drug. But what did that game is, to this day, still talked about. Probably no matter how good they come out, no matter how great the creator wrestler is or the story is, it's just
never going to top.
No, it's never going to top
the Nintendo 64.
Oh my god! Oh my god! So, so that obviously got you into wrestling, and like early on, as a fan, who were the guys or talent that you gravitated towards?
Well, early on, because it took me. I played the game. I think I played a couple games before I actually started watching it on TV because I was like, oh, it's actually a thing I can watch.
Yeah.
This is going on.
They're based on something.
Yeah, this isn't just a video game. This isn't just Tekken or anything like that. So immediately it was like Kane. I thought Kane was the coolest in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I loved Booker in the games because he was a black guy with dreads who kicked.
Yeah.
I thought that was the coolest. So guys like that were the immediate the first guys that I really liked when I was a little kid.
Okay.
And then as I started watching it and I started looking at it differently, I kind of moved on to I always thought it was funny because I'm this big guy and I've always been this big guy even when I was a kid, and I liked the little guys, the technical guys. I love Eddie Guerrero is one of my favorite. If you couldn't guess, Muda is my all-time favorite.
Oh man, Muda! God, I'm still holding out hope one day that they'll do it, but I would love to see Undertaker versus Muda at WrestleMania. Just for the interest. At that point, I can have some guy just like rub a lamp and like poof, and it's gone. It's
20
gone.
minutes of entrances, then have just
the face-off, and then they just walk in different directions. Just nothing, not a word said. Just oh my god, greatest thing ever. So yeah, Muda. Okay. Now I have to ask you this because we were talking a little bit before. When did you know, from a football standpoint, that you were gifted? Because I mean, honestly, to get to the pros, I mean the percentage of I'm one of the statistics of guys who like after high school was like never again. Mm-hmm. But you, when did you know?
Well, I kind of always had this weird thing because my dad played pro ball before.
Okay.
He played like 11 years, played a long time. So that was always an attainable thing for, me and my brother. We both played.
So there was never, because there are, I mean, as a kid, we all probably were like, oh man, I'm going to quarterback.
Well, no, that's the funny thing. I was always an offensive lineman. I never had the moment
your dream was never.
I was never
give
running
me the
back.
ball.
I wanted to.
Okay.
My dad was like, nope, you're a pretty big kid. You're gonna be an offensive lineman. That's what pays the bills. I was like, you know what? That's fine. I'll stick with it.
Yeah.
But I'm from Boston, and we were just talking before the camera started running.
Yeah.
The culture for football in Massachusetts is so much different than it is in Texas.
Okay, yeah.
Here, the high schools are like colleges.
Yeah.
I could barely get 20 people to go to my games at Catholic Memorial.
Oh man, it's and
it's cold too, so that doesn't help.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not necessarily. Good for the viewer.
Yeah.
Like, I just stay at home and watch this.
So there's all kinds of like stories of like my local. I went to a private school in the city, as opposed to the school that I would have went to in the town that I grew up in, because there were all these stories about the band would kick the football team off the practice field because the band needed to practice.
Wow!
And I was like, that would never happen anywhere else but Massachusetts. So there's always been kind of like this thought that football in Massachusetts isn't legitimate.
Okay.
Which it's not. Or I mean, it is legitimate.
Yeah.
But it's that's the thought process. So I never, me being better than, say anybody else, never made me feel like I was, the man.
Yeah.
So I always kind of
only because if you were the man in Texas,
I was the man in if I was the man in Texas.
Oh my God,
But I was the man in Massachusetts, so I was like, that's cool. And I'll go play college, and I was good in college, and I was the man in college. I've always kind of seen myself as a little bit less than I probably was.
Okay.
And that got me all the way into the NFL, and even though it wasn't a talent thing, I got a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
I was on 3 teams and I just kept on getting hurt, and it's just that's just the cards that I was dealt.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that's why I was so fine with just hanging it up, because I was like, hey, I'm still feeling good. If I lose about 40 pounds, my knee's gonna feel way better than it does when I'm 325 pounds.
So 325 was like what you were at your, I guess, peak within football.
Yeah, I lost a little bit at the end of my college career because we went to a no huddle offense. We lost it. I was at North Carolina for the whole controversy in North Carolina.
Okay.
So we went through 3 coaches, like 3 strength coaches. It was a mess. Yeah. But the new coaching staff that's there, they're great. They're doing well. But it was some growing pains because they had a certain offense that they wanted to run, and we weren't built like the kind of guys that they wanted to. So I lost a little bit then. Put it back on before the draft, and I played in the NFL at a little bit heavier. So
okay.
And you're not. I was never supposed to be 325 pounds. I had to really work hard to keep that on.
I can't even.
I had to. They actually used to send me home in my freshman year because I graduated college at like 270.
Okay.
Which is about where I'm at now.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably where I'm supposed to be at. But when I got there, they're like, we need to get you around 300. After study hall, we're going to give you this loaf of bread. You eat it by the end of the night. Come back tomorrow, we'll give you another one. So it's like,
wow.
We're going to make you drink protein shakes in between squat sets. It was nuts. But I put it on.
Wow.
It came on.
So, did you go to the combine? Did you do all of that?
I did.
How was, because I watched some of it. Some of the drill. But yeah, from a guy, because I've never met someone who actually went through it. I've heard some of the horror stories. I've heard some of the good, some of the bad. But being a guy that was in it, how was it for you?
It is very nerve-wracking. There's very little else like it, save for the WWE tryout.
Okay.
It's not a lot different from that.
Wow. Okay.
But where it is different is you're there to do tests, so you know exactly what you're getting into before. I went to Arizona and trained there for about 3 months just to get ready for what they were expecting me to do. So your 40-yard dash, your 5-10-5.
Kind of the projected, like if we get you at your peak.
We want you, and they've got guys that have specially got you to train so that you are at your best for the combine. You could go right back down right afterwards.
Wow. Okay.
Because the body, you go like this. This is just how you go, and then they train you so that you're right here the day before you go, and then you do your best, and then you kind of go back down on that.
Yeah.
But the combine is, and I didn't even have to do all the tests because I had torn my shoulder my senior year.
Okay. Yeah.
So on top of that, I was just there for interviews.
Yeah.
And it was still rough. It's rough. The interview process is really tough. You're sitting down in these dark rooms, like one light, like you're getting interrogated by Batman.
Well, oh God, yeah. It's just like you're just waiting. Oh, he's right behind you.
Yeah, exactly. And
where's the trigger? You're like, I'm here. Where do you want it to?
And that was my problem was because I'm not a regular football player.
Okay.
That's always been my thing. Is my hair's always been all kinds of colors. I've always had a bunch of earrings. I like anime and comic books and wrestling.
Yeah.
So that was my biggest thing when I went to the combine. Was they're like, does this guy actually take football seriously? Because
you weren't the embodiment of
because I wasn't JJ Watt.
You weren't cookie cutter.
Yeah, exactly. So that
JJ's kind of, if you're gonna look at anybody, it's just from he is Captain America. Man.
Yeah,
he's the John Cena of football.
Exactly. So that was what was tough for me is.
So they would constantly question just your motivation to do it.
Motivation, because I don't know, it's some weird thought that you can't have outside interests outside of football.
Well, I guess because it is similar to wrestling in the sense that it has to become your life, even if you're... Yeah, because like for me, it was always like, oh, live it, breathe it, just...
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's definitely the case, but I don't know, I think it's kind of just like an old school attitude.
Yeah.
That, you want... But it's a weird balance, because... at the same time, they, we take the Wonderlic test at the combine, and that's, for anybody who doesn't know, it's like kind of like an IQ test. You kind of go through some basic problems, and they're just trying to see how smart you're at. And what was funny was, as smart and as out there as people thought that I was actually told to, dumb it down on that test because I had taken practice tests.
Okay.
I was doing too good. And they were like, hey, they're gonna think you can do other stuff. We need them to think that you can only do football. So,
like you have no backup plan.
Yeah, so
you just
exactly.
oh, like,
no,
yeah,
that's
okay.
exactly it.
No nets. You have no net.
No
like
net.
this is your thing because I guess a person who's hungry or hungrier. That was the perception.
That's
yeah.
the thought.
Oh man, that's
It's weird because I was sitting there taking the test. I was like, okay.
Purposely
and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna answer this one because I know I could get that one right. It's like, but it's weird like that, and I mean that's what wrestling can be like that in some ways too. But it was a very unique experience at the combine.
All right. So, when did you start to have the idea that you would want to try professional wrestling? When did that was it something that was, because I would see you at the PWA shows, before it became ROW, and then I think even once it made the transition, you were there, not consistently, but consistently enough. But when did it enter your brain? Was it something throughout, once you got to the pros, you were like, maybe that would be something I would want to do, or?
Like I said, I always assumed that I was just going to play professional football.
Yeah.
So my thought process was, I woke up one day and I was 6'6", and I was looking at the guys on TV. I was like, well, they're around my height, and they're around my size. Maybe because I've always been more of a wrestling fan than I was a football fan. That was my problem with in the combine.
Okay.
There were a couple people that asked, oh, so you're a wrestling fan? I was like, yeah, huge wrestling fan. Like, would you leave football for wrestling? I was like, no, never.
Not at all.
Never. I would never. But my thought process was always, I would ride football as long as it would take me, because that is a great job.
Yeah.
And, it's still done well for me. And then, whether it was 11 years like my dad or 3 years like it ended up being for me, I was going to take the steps to go be a wrestler, because I thought I could do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, I knew enough about it in a way, and I was passionate about it.
Yeah.
So, as soon as I finished with the Patriots, what must have been 5 months ago now, I knew exactly the steps that I had to take to come down here. Mm-hmm. And use that relationship that I had built when I was here, with Booker and here at Reality of Wrestling, and use that to just get ready for. I treated it like a combine situation. I trained 3 months before I went to the combine in Arizona, and I trained 3 months before I went to the combine at WWE.
So what was it like for you the first time you had to take a bump? The very first, off your feet kind of.
It's well, I'm sure because bigger guy bumps harder.
You're told attack it as yes, fall on purpose.
And that's the other thing, as a football player, I've never, if I was on the ground, I was in trouble. So if I had to make a stupid hop, skip, and a jump to stay on my feet, I'd never fall down.
Yeah.
If I'm on my back, we're having an issue.
Yeah.
So I was prepared to do all this stuff, but you're never prepared for it. I don't think I took a breath. I didn't breathe out when I did it. So
it's always
I knocked my wind out, and I remember the first day, or no, it might have been the second day. Mm-hmm. The Lockharts were teaching me how to do bumps.
Okay.
And I was doing the back bump. I was fine. Front bump I was fine. Flip bumps couldn't do.
Okay.
Couldn't do it. I was too. I didn't trust myself with the flip.
Yeah.
So I had to go through. I think my first kind of flippy, bumpy experience was they both suplexed me out of the corner.
Okay.
So that was just my way of getting.
Just so you had no choice but to
exactly.
Go. Yeah.
So I mean, it's all exactly how I expected it. Mm-hmm. If not. Maybe I talked it up as being worse. Yeah. Because I've heard such horror stories about taking bumps and running ropes and all that stuff. Yeah. So I was mentally prepared for it, but it's it is tough. Mm-hmm. It's definitely tough.
So the Shogun of the Row, Marcellus Black, not something Book came up with. This was something you had in mind.
I already come up with it by the time I had to do my walkout and say that I was going to have a match promo.
Nice.
I had T-shirts made already.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. So you were. So that was kind of your. I mean, in a perfect world, that's Marcellus Black is the guy that you would want to.
If you let me do it, that's what I would run that dry. I feel like, and I feel like it's it's based on something that I thought Booker would get. So that's why I figured he wouldn't have a problem with it or anything like that. Because it's kind of like this pseudo Wu-Tang, pseudo Last Dragon. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Oh no, I've always said that they should remake the movie and have Booker play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shogun.
That's exactly
and
what
I thought, well, in a perfect world, we'd get Q to play Last Dragon. Yeah, man. Oh my God, you just retell that story.
It'd be perfect. Yeah, we could film it here.
We could. We have that entire post-apocalyptic mall in the background.
Oh
too.
yeah.
Oh my God.
We need to use that. Like I already said, there's like an old abandoned massage parlor. And I was like, that is gonna be the Shogun's dojo. It's gonna be
Oh my
amazing.
God. Yeah. Yeah, because I think you should do, if they when they start doing promos with you, it should be like in your meditation area.
I should be sitting cross-legged in like some bamboo-lidden area and just be like talking to it.
Yeah. So what? So he's from. If you could describe Marcellus Black as far as to people who aren't familiar with it, what would you? How would you describe Marcellus Black?
Well, if I were to describe his background, because I'm a big. When I was in college, I used to LARP. I don't know if you.
Okay. Live action role
play. It's like.
I'm glad I knew that.
Because if you've seen Role Models, that's exactly what it is.
Nice. Okay.
And I'm a big tabletopper, so I've always come up with characters.
Okay.
And when you're trying to come up with a character, you got to come up with their background story. You got to what are their motivations?
Yeah.
So when I came up with the Shogun, this is a guy who was abandoned at a temple somewhere up on the tallest mountain in the savage lands of Shaolin.
Okay.
And he doesn't belong there, obviously.
Oh.
He's this big black guy, but he's raised by monks, and that's why he's adopted that culture and that that feel, and he's just put it on himself. So he's like this big Street Fighter character that's just come down from the mountain. And he's looking for a challenge. So he came to the reality of wrestling because he wanted. This is where the greatest warriors are supposed to be.
Nice.
That's where, to make my name, I'm going to beat all the greatest warriors. So that's the Shogun.
Nice. How are you feeling before your debut match against Cedric?
I was nervous, but not nervous, because Cedric. I went through the match with Cedric a couple of times, and it was actually. We lucked out because that was the show that got pushed back.
Yes.
Was the show that I was supposed to debut on. And up until that point, we had been doing so much to get ready in the new facility that I hadn't been in the ring for about a month.
Yeah.
So when we had that extra week, I got to get in the ring with Ced, go over a couple things. I didn't have any moves or anything. I know all the basic stuff, but I didn't have anything that was mine.
Yeah.
So I got to come up with a couple of things that my fans would really love this. This will be really gifable on Twitter, and this is going to get really over. So I was able to come up with some of that stuff over the course of that week, and I wasn't nervous so much about the crowds because I've performed in front of crowds before. But I was nervous, and it's the same way I felt when I went and did my first promo in the ring, was the reaction.
Yeah.
Because football, I don't care how the fans react, obviously. But I'm supposed to be, I'm a baby face. I'm supposed to have these people cheering for me. And, I don't know how they feel about me. I don't know. Yeah. I get, I used to play here, but who am I?
Yeah.
So when I came out and, everybody was into it, and, when I got my Shogun, I was like, I did it. And then after that, the second match was cake, because it was like that was the hardest part. Was just I didn't know how everybody was going to react.
Yeah.
Well, I won't say the second match was cake, but we can get to that later.
No, that you got a chance to get in the ring with Ryan. So, what's it like being in the ring with a guy like Ryan?
Ryan's he's the man. As soon as that got out and there were the pictures of the event and people saw that I was with Ryan. A couple people on Facebook had started messaging me. It's like, hey, how was it being in there with Ryan? Because Ryan's got that kind of reputation around here. That he's a consummate professional ring general. It was like because I trained with Ryan. So
because he did. I do recall I was there a couple of times where Ryan was kind of the one Book would be there to kind of let's go over it, kind of your pacing and whatnot.
And Ryan is the closest thing to a big guy trainer that we've got. So when it comes to like big guy psychology and stuff like that, he's always helping me on that standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
So it was great. It felt natural being in there with him, and unlike with Cedric, I didn't know that I was facing Ryan a couple weeks before.
Yeah.
So I found out that day, and we talked about it. I was like, okay, it's going to be, I'm going to get jumped. Yeah. It's like, okay, I could do that. Yeah. And, I was good. I was good with that. But then, Book said, main event. I was like, okay.
Wow. Yeah.
That's a little bit more than I was ready for, but all right. If you trust me, then I'll go out there and do it. So that's what was tough about that. It wasn't. I think it was like 6 or 7 minutes out there. Yeah. But just waiting backstage for the whole show, it's weird. I compare it to like you get ready for a game and you stretch and you warm up. And you don't go in until the end of the fourth quarter. Yeah. So like you get, I take my energy drink and then I'm not doing anything. Yeah. Just sitting there. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's trying to figure out the pacing of leading when you'll figure it out as it goes. So you took part in the WWE tryout. Mm-hmm. So you mentioned that it's somewhat similar to the combine. What are kind of the similarities for that?
It's similar in that it is a pressure cooker environment. Yeah. At the Combine and at the WWE tryout, they're both trying to make you crack. Yeah. They're both trying to see how much you want it. Mm-hmm. At the Combine, they would make you get up at like 3:30 in the morning for a drug test. No reason. Yeah. You get up at 3:30, do the rest of your day, dead tired. Yeah. You stayed in a hotel that was also a train station. There was a train running all night.
Wow. Okay.
So if you're nervous and if you do manage to get some sleep, then the train might wake you up. Yeah. So they know what they're doing, mm-hmm. and it was very much the same thing of they want to see how much you want it. They want to see how much you prepared for it. Yeah. And what was different about the WWE tryout is it was an endurance tryout. Yeah. Which is unlike anything I've done before, because in football, they just want to see what you can do, like at your best, at my best, how far can I jump, how fast can I run, all that. At the WWE tryout, that's 3.5 days of grind. Like it's more like a training camp than it is a tryout. Okay. So you're doing drills, you're working out, which was just blew my mind. Like we had like an in-ring day or session, and then we went to the weight room, and then we did some weights. I was like, we're lifting weights? Like, what are we doing that for? Yeah. But it's all designed, because it was, I could tell, because I've worked out enough in my life that I was like, oh, they're trying to wear out my triceps so that when I'm doing my push-ups tomorrow morning, I cramp up and get, so it was very tough in that aspect. Mm-hmm. But it was great. I loved it there. It was the facilities are fantastic. It's just a very unique experience, just like the Combine. Yeah.
How excited now are you? Do you watch a lot of the product, like outside reality wrestling? Do you watch what product do you see? Do you watch WWE? Do you have the network? Any of that stuff?
I watch the network all the time. Right now. I just had not just had a daughter. I had a daughter a year ago, so I can't. We're actually not allowed to watch TV when she's up. So
wow. Okay.
I'm actually, so I don't get to watch. I used to watch everything. I used to watch TNA. I used to watch whatever was on. Mm-hmm. But now, I always watch WWE. I keep up with all of that. I'm always on the network if there's nothing else on. Mm-hmm. Lucha Underground I'm really into right now.
Man. It's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. I keep up with it. Yeah, it's if I were to ever try to do a show, it'd try to be like that, like a Tekken style, bringing all warriors to a temple.
It's like, hey, it's a TV show. Yeah. It's a TV show. We know it's a TV show. Let's make it a TV show. Yeah. And it's that, and I watch the big New Japan shows. I'm big into New Japan.
Yeah, with Jim Ross recently took over. Yep. I've liked the last couple. It's weird because I can delete Impact from my, like if I'm a few weeks behind, I'm just like,
I'll figure out what happened.
maybe. Let me fast forward. But yeah, I built up like 14 or 15 New Japans.
Yeah.
So I've been binge watching. I'm now current.
But fortunately for us, they just took everybody from New Japan, so WWE's about to be New Japan.
yeah, it's gonna be the New Japan invasion.
Yeah.
How excited are you for WrestleMania?
I'm pretty excited. I'm really excited for the NXT show, and if I could have gotten down there, I would have loved to have gotten to see that. WrestleMania is shaping up. I'm interested to see. I got to hurry up and get home to see what happens tonight.
Oh yeah, Roadblock. That's it's the alternate version of WrestleMania. It's it's like
everything that you heard before.
You were like, oh, Dean versus Triple. Yeah, I want to see that. Bray and Brock. I know that was going to happen at some point. Okay, awesome. Yeah,
this is the 616 universe. WrestleMania. But yeah, no, it'll be cool to go home and kind of see, because this is I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You think you know what's going to happen, but I didn't think this pay-per-view was going to happen.
Yeah.
So. This is kind of where the trajectory for WrestleMania is going to be set, so everything will start shaping up a lot more after tonight.
Yeah, cool. Well, you know who you're facing next at Reality Wrestling?
Got Ryan again. Because, that scoundrel Stevie Ray jumped me.
Stevie Ray, man! Like, his expert tutelage.
Yeah, that expert tutelage that hit me in the back of the head.
Yeah.
I've got Ryan again, and it'll be a much longer match. So.
You're gonna take some pleasure inflicting some pain.
Yeah.
Well, man, I will say, man, for your first match, the first couple of matches, man, I'm really impressed, man.
Thank you.
I hope you get some really good news from the tryout. I know that's a ways away, but. Man, keep doing what you're doing, man. I appreciate you taking the time.
No problem.
All
Thanks
right.
for having me.